Welcome back to Maple City Bricks. I know it's been a while since we've done anything here, but to be fair, I haven't really done anything with the city. You're looking at a slightly modified layout because I finally got my hands on something I've been looking for many, many years. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted a Lego train, and while my parents were very generous, getting me pretty much everything I ever wanted, Harry Potter sets, the studios, back when they came out with the little webcam and Steven Spielberg collab, I had all of that. I had pretty much everything I ever wanted. Star Wars stuff, especially when those launched. But I never got a train, and I think the reason was because I had a Playmobil train, which was great, but running on like a bigger gauge system and was interoperable with other trains. You'd have to let me know for sure. I'm not an expert on those ones, but that was my train set. So I was never able to get a Lego train. Until now. You see, we've been looking for a long time, especially since we've moved here. I wanted to find a train and I wanted to put it in the city and set it up and have a passenger train run through whatever Lego city we plan on setting up and building. Because right now, the only things available new from Lego is a train heist, because the police have trains. Anyway, I think they do have some sort of passenger train, but it's more like a bullet train, which makes more sense in a European or Japanese city, but not here in a North American city where our rail infrastructure is not as advanced. But here it is, I finally have my Lego train. This one being set number 60197, known as passenger train, very, on the nose when it comes to it. This came out in 2018, was retired 4 years later in 2022. Original price, at least from what I could tell on some Canadian websites, or at least the price that it was last sold for, was $199 Canadian, which overall not too bad considering it's part of the Powered Up line. They still make them. You can still buy the controllers and the actual motor boxes, so if you wanted to build your own thing, Powered Up still exists. But anyway, I was able to get this for $140 Canadian on the used market. I was able to find it on Facebook Marketplace. Personally, I think it's a good deal. I've seen a lot of the older trains. There was one that we found at a toy fair here in town when we kind of first moved here just after Christmas. They had one, I want to say it was like $350, and that's typically what like these slightly older trains go for, especially if you're looking for the metal tracks. These plastic tracks, I think they work fine. I got not only all the tracks that came with it, but they did say they included some extra ones. I don't believe these adjustable bendy ones were part of the set. So I've got two of those. And then currently we have sort of an oval setup, or more of a squircle. And then I do have a couple extra pieces here, some straight pieces, some curved pieces. So ideally I can add to it. Now, as I mentioned, it's been a little bit of time since we've done any videos here. It's also been time since this was set up. I mean, it's been on the table here, but haven't really done anything with it over the last, I'd say, 8 months, whenever the last video went up. Mostly because I've been going through other toys and organizing things. I got a lot of stuff back from my childhood home, and I've just been kind of organizing through a lot of it. Found a lot of Lego during that, in those buckets. As a kid, I did try to keep things organized, Playmobil in 8 different buckets, and then Lego in 4 different buckets, and action figures and stuff like that and other ones, but then things would get mixed in as they inevitably do. So I did find a lot of small pieces, maybe a couple things that I was like looking for. So those we'll talk about after because we did do some organization, but yeah, it went through a lot of it. But during that time, this went on the back burner. Now that we got the train, which is really the catalyst for getting everything going again, I've set the city up. Now, there's a couple things that I'd like to do. We talked about it last time, talking about using base plates like these, the standard size base plates, to replace the very thin ones that come with the creator sets to have a more adjustable city. And I think I still want to do that because right now, using the straight interlocking city street pieces that Legos come out with, those do sit a little bit higher currently than the modular creator expert housing units that we've got. And I would like that to actually be the opposite, or at least flush, so that the road makes a little bit more sense. But realistically, the road should actually sit a little bit lower then the sidewalks, curbs, and all that, just like they do in a real city. So that will be down the road. I mean, it's going to be expensive having to purchase all the parts off Bricklink, because I only have maybe like, maybe 6 of these. What are these? 16 by 16 tile pieces. You need 32 by 32, so 4 of them just to do one of these buildings, and I've got 1, 2, like 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in total. I'm not good with math, especially on the fly, so I would need like, I don't know, another 48 of these or something like that at least, because with 6 I'm not getting much done. And the idea is to actually have them so that, you know, each house is its own base plate like this, still in a modular setup, but then it might be a little bit easier to move things around. And then the train would sit through there, but it does present an interesting setup, because if we want to have the base of the entire city to be these 16 by 16 base plates, I have to figure out how I'm going to attach the train, because the train uses standard Lego sized pieces. They're 2 by 6s or 2 by 8s. They curve. So I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. At least the road pieces are flat. And again, they take up the same sort of profile as one of these, so it helps. But I am going to have to buy another set of road at the very minimum, just to be able to finish it off. It's hard to see on the static shot here, but you'll see some B-roll that the roads don't quite line up exactly to how much street we have. And then technically, over here where I'm sitting is a new street. This would be an intersection as we continue to work it out. Now, another plan that I have is to expand this tabletop. These tables, we bought them from Amazon a few years ago. I believe they are 23 by 47 inches, which is just an inch shy of putting them together kind of thing of what normal plywood would be. Plywood's 4 foot by 8 foot. This will work because we actually, at the Home Depot, we found that they sell a 1 inch larger than that, so it'd be 49 by 97 inch thick. I think it's like a ½ inch or something piece of not really plywood. It's more of a finished board, not like finish that you'd want to have dinner on, but at least it's not going to give you splinters as you're using it. I want to sit that on top of here, build a little lip, like a 1 inch lip that goes around the bottom, just so it kind of sits and hugs these tables. But it should be a perfect fit to actually basically double the size of this, because if this is, you know, like I said, 23 by 47, 2 of them together is like 47 by 46 or whatever, right? Pretty darn close, whatever the actual measurements are. I could effectively double that by adding this tabletop and having these 2 set underneath on opposite ends. So they would act as the table, right? The legs going down, and then I'd have a bigger tabletop. That would allow us to expand the city right now, because like if I put this on slow speed, takes like 10 seconds for it to go around. It's not really going very far. Not a very useful commuter train. And then, you know, even if I go to max speed, it's pretty quick and also pretty loud. So I want to do that. That's going to be the plan down the road. We've got to get one of those pieces of wood, build it a little bit, do that, remove everything off of here so that I could do that. And like, it's kind of a mess right now. We've been working on some stuff. I did come up with, not a big fan of the finished product, but I do have a little train crossing here. I haven't built an arm for it yet, but temporarily we've set it up in town so that our Lego citizens are aware of the train coming in. So when it leaves the area, trucks and stuff can pass through. Even bigger one like our recycle truck here from the Lego movie, right? Ooh, just makes it. So plan is to get going on that. So hopefully we'll be able to do that over the next couple weeks. I would like to redo this train. You can let me know in the comments if Lego actually made these. I want to say that this actually came from my studio set, the Steven Spielberg one, to have gray pieces like this. So gray sort of scaffolding would look much more authentic. Nobody uses black when it comes to, you know, there's no actual black like level crossings and stuff in the real world here in North America. They are gray or stainless steel, whatever it may be. Like it's a metal product that's gray. I would like to have that, but temporarily for now. Now, one of the other things I did, you know, as we were setting this up was to reorganize the storage area. That has been really another adult lifelong project of mine, is to sort through my Lego, because it's great. We have a lot of built sets throughout the house. We went over that a couple of episodes ago. But I've got an entire bucket here, a 102-liter bucket that's like half full of unsorted Lego. Actually, it's probably more than that because I removed a lot of it in order to just get access to the smaller stuff. It has been a goal of mine over the last 15 years to organize that in a way that makes sense. I had many years ago, before that, just organized pieces by color. So red, yellow, green, blue, gray, dark gray. Why? That doesn't make any sense. I've now organized them by actual piece type, and we're going to go over and I'll show you. All right, so welcome to our new and improved storage area for our Lego. I mean, storage for everything that we've got, and it's not my favorite setup, but it will get the job done. So up until now, I have been organizing by brick type. So you can see here I do have some of them labeled. We were able to print them off. I think there was like a little program or website that had these brick pieces there so you can actually see what they are. So, 1x2, 1x3, 1x4, things like that. A lot of them aren't labeled. And then I've got some smaller containers here. So things like brick pieces, little round studs, extra pieces. I got like some roller coaster stuff. We've got all of our flat pieces. And it all makes sense, right? Tried to go in a way that if you're looking for a 2x3 or 2x8, they're in the same area. Same thing over here. I've got like, taller wall pieces. I get some miscellaneous stuff, sloped pieces, all that. Basically anything that I could kind of organize would go into here. Now I've got this drawer here. This is just sort of stuff that's work in progress. A couple drawers of Star Wars stuff that needs to be fixed and sorted. I've got some stuff down there. Larger containers, so like characters, 2x2 bricks and 2x4 bricks. And then some of the smaller stuff are in like these part organization bins. And I went through them the other day, yesterday, really just to make sure everything made sense. And then even smaller stuff over there. So it's kind of what we're working with at the moment. I have a couple drawers up here that we were using that I need to kind of work through. Technic stuff. An entire container of brick separators that I don't need. And then realistically, like all of these boxes are still full of Lego that need to be sorted. So it's a lot that I still need to work through, but the organization here at least makes sense for me. I know some larger channels and whatnot, they're able to sort something like 1x2 bricks by not only the brick, but also by the color. And I know a lot of people just go by color, and that's fine. I don't think there's really a wrong or right way to do it, but for what we've been working on, this has been the way to go. So my plan is now to take the bucket that I have over here, the one that I was talking about that has 102 liters capacity, which is mostly full. All of this is unsorted Lego. Oh my God. These are some larger pieces of unsorted Lego. That's part of a house that my daughter had. So yeah, this entire bucket should not exist. The idea is everything from here should be sorted. And yes, here's another piece I might be able to use for the train crossing. It'd be great if it was gray. There's some very easy pieces to try to sort that are kind of built that I need to work through. But for the most part, it's like it's difficult. It is hard. If you know a better way to do it, please let me know. But effectively, this bucket's going to go back over here. And then the idea is to try to go through sort of the pieces that make the most sense. So what I've been doing up until now is I'll take, a couple of these buckets, for example. I'll work on plates. So I'll go through that bin to sort, and I'll pull out all the plates that I can find, and then I'll put them where they belong here, rather than literally pulling out every piece and trying to organize it. I think that it's just a little too overwhelming to have to go through it manually like that. So for what I have been doing, at least, is to take the pieces that I can work on one at a time, kind of go through them. So that's where we're at the moment. When it comes to our Lego City, I am hoping, like I said, to get that table expanded to at least have a little bit more room to work around, not only for the train, but just in general. There are things we'd like to work on. My wife set up like a little food truck area over there. It's technically blocking the road. We would like to build like a little park or something, so that's something down the road as well. But definitely a lot to work on. And as you know, if you're a Lego fan, it's very, very expensive. Trying to find just the pieces that you need, and like I said, in this case, these 16 by 16s, I don't care what they look like. As long as they're in good shape, I'll take any color I can get. Those are going to be expensive, but say I wanted to build another train car. 2 of them is not really a lot. I don't really want to spend another $140 minimum to buy another train, but if I could get some of the pieces to build another car, or found maybe the car and another engine just on its own, I would. So a lot of things that I could be doing that we're hoping to be able to start working on now. Things are getting organized. That bucket is something that needs to be done. And like I said, if you have a better solution for organizing, I don't want to change how we've done it in terms of actually putting things away. I think for me and how much Lego I have, currently the best approach is piece by piece goes into its own bucket, its own container. So then that way, if I'm looking for it, I just have to find the color I want. So if you have a way of sorting through this that makes more sense, or a trick, something that I can do to work my way through this bucket faster, that would be great. Because, ideally, sometime that needs to get done. It would probably take me like a year. It's taking me a long time to get to this point anyway. We had a lot more. So let me know in the comments if you've got a better way to do it. I would love to hear it. I would like to know how you have set things up. Both if you're doing a city, if you've got a train set up, which train you've got, let us know. Like I said, I was just excited to get one, but now that I've got it, I have the urge to get more. So I'm looking at different options for trains. So I want to hear from you. I want to subscribe too. So if you haven't done so, please do that. And then also check out the other stuff that we're doing. We've got an entire family of stuff that we do here under the PRN umbrella. Maple City Bricks is the only one that doesn't conform to that naming convention, but you can check out the other channels that we've got if you're interested in those topics. I appreciate you watching, and until next time, take care.